everyone. If you're new to the channel, this channel only for Edu Data Factory real-time scenario question and answer series. So today we are covering two parts. So if you're working on Edu Data Factory side and you want to load data from any of the sources, you would have to pick a latest file, right? So this video is for you. You have to load the latest file on particular folder and load into one different location on the blob. So this is our fundamental to understand. I'll show you the step by step. All the errors comes up, we have to fix it. And if you're new to the channel, and let me give you the introduction of the channel. This channel is only for Azure Data Factory, Power BI, and SQL Server interview perspective, where we discuss about all the real-time scenario which is coming to latest videos, and you will understand how to get the answers and how to crack the interview. Okay, so what we are going to discuss about two parts. One part is to load the data from one folder, and second part is suppose we have multiple folders and we want to load the data into blob location. So I'll give the example. So let me give you the example how we deal with it. So I have created a containers. You can see there are multiple containers. So let me give example. I have input folder here. I'll give you total understanding. So suppose you're loading a monthly load or weekly load, and suppose daily, right? You want to pick a daily file which is loaded. So in this example, what I'm going to show you, you can see I have files name, near about 10 files I have, and I have modified files. So you can see the employee POC is the latest date, 14th of March 2024, and rest is 2nd of February, right? So if you are monthly, suppose my file being loaded onto this blob location, I want to pick that file only. So what you have to do, you will get to watch the video till the end, and you will understand how to load, pick the latest file from particular folder. So I'm going to show is this video have two parts. One part is for the particular folder, right? Modified file. Second part, I'll suppose you have a multiple blob locations, multiple folder structures. So you want to pick a latest file on top of it. How you do that? You will find right away. So you understand my scenario. I have the containers called, what is called input containers. Input containers, I have 10 files. In the 10 files, I want to pick a latest file to my further enrichment. This is a real time scenario, right? So how you answer it? So we'll go one by one. Let me create the one pipeline. Let me close all the pipelines first. uh, yeah, let me discard everything. I'll do from the scratch. Okay. Okay, let me open the ADF file. So if you preparing the interview, so you have to watch my all the playlist. I am covering again same sector like Power BI and Azure Data Factory. I'm covering the Azure Data Factory side. If you wanted to get video on the Databricks, please hit the comment box. I'll try to cover that as well. Okay, let me go ahead. So we'll do one thing. We'll build a pipeline which load the file from the folder first, input folder. Secondly, I'll read the child item on top of it. I'll show one by one. Okay. So let me create new pipeline. Is called one, correct? Let me use a get metadata. So what we are going to do in this step, we have to point that input folder, right? Because this part one is only for I have the folder name, right, where I have to read the files. So I'll do one thing. I'll connect new sources. I'll add this a blob. I'll pick the blob location. My file is a delimiter file. I'll show you file again. You can see I have delimiter files here. Okay. Let me pick the blob location too, because this is I have created. Now as I have decided which folder I'm going to pick, I'll pick input folder. I go inside. So at least my container is fixed now, right? Okay. Let me go inside. That's quite simple. Do you have any doubts? Now if you think hypothetically, you are load the file, right? Means from the once you find the file, correct, you have to get the file name and you want the date, right, to compare. Suppose I have 10 file, I have to compare date, right, one by one, right? So for that I am creating two variables here. You can see I have created one file called uh, latest file. Makes sense. And second would be your date, right, reference dates. Okay, so this you understand this file. Once I compare the file, each file one by one, I have a latest file and I have a date, right, to compare, right? So here I have, delimiter file. It pointed to where, which one is pointed to file name. And from once you pick the input folder, what you wanted, I want that child item is inside the input folder how many files I have. Okay, so let me debug it. I'll show you each step, there would be no confusion, right? So if you see that input folder, suppose get when I go into input folder and I pick a child item means inside folder how many items you have. So I have employee 1 to A9 and I have employee POC as well, correct? So if you I hope you understand. Just hold on. Get the child item, we will get all the files and the things, right? Let me see. So if you go down here, you can see I have get metadata. What I am doing, I am reading a child item. Okay, let me get the output. What I got the output. In output, I have all the files. You can see employee POC, employee dot 1, 2, 8, 9, right? Till 9, I have the items, right? And the name is, you can see the name is there and type is there, right? This is one step. This is my first step. I am able to read the file. Now what I wanted to do, I wanted to iterate, right, because I want to deal with each files, correct? Means one, second, third, each file you have to do operation one by one. So I will do you use a for each loop, right? You got it, you getting my point, right? Because I have to do operation for each activity, right? Because I have to get the date and file name and compare the file across and store the variable. We have two variables that store the latest dates and that respective file name, correct? So let me connect. Once we have a file names, I will pass all the file one by one to for each activity. And what I'll do in activity, let me give the context here. So what I wanted to read which one? Child item, correct? Correct or not? Okay. So I have read all the passing all the file one by one, correct? Okay. Once I pass the value here, suppose I have got file one by one, what I wanted to do here? Any thoughts? I want to get the attrition again, right? I have to use get data because I want to deal with again the same data, right? So what I'll do, I'll create one dataset again. I'll point it to blob location again. And this time I'll need to do a dynamically read all the files, right? I will not assign anything here. What I'll do, I'll open that data set, okay, and I will create a folder called, right? I want what I want. I want a file name because once I pass the file, I want the date, right? Okay, and that's why I'm explaining what I wanted. So my container is fixed. Let me give the container name. Let me browse because container is fixed, right? So I'm not going into iteration part for input folder, but file name. What I wanted, I want a file name here. Okay. Okay. Now I have used this file. What I wanted, I want a file name again. Correct. Now, why I have done because once I pass the for each activity, I want a name, right? Let me give the output here. Let me go back. I have run the right. I have run that step. Let me go back. Where is output? So here, if you see, then what is the child item name? My name is. We have to pick it up, right? You can see name is there. So here, what I'll do, I'll go get my data activity and I'll pick a name, item dot name. Correct. Once I read it here, what I wanted here, you can see, I want a latest last modified, right? And let me pick one more where I get item name. Okay. Okay. Till here you find, let me debug it. Let's see what I'm getting here. So I hope you understand. First get metadata will pick the folder and there are respective child item, correct? That part is fixed. Each file I am passing into for each activity using, right, correct? And for each activity what it's doing is doing get metadata again. Means once I pick the get metadata, I have a file name, right, correct? So once I go inside, I have picked the file name. Makes sense. And once I pick a file name, I'll get two details: last modified date and item name. Makes sense. Let me see if there is output coming up. Okay, why we have this iteration? Let me go one by one. So first step, we got all the file names, then iteration coming, right? How many files are there in folder that time? Current activity runs. Let me see, I have might be 10. Let me see, do we have 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? I have 10 iterations. So let me read one by one what data I am getting. So what I wanted, I want a last modified and particular file name, correct? That part is clear for you. Same way, let me read first one. I got the employee 505 and this one is the last modified. So here what I have got, if you go inside, what I have get the data. I got the file. Okay. Now what is next? I got the file, I have the last modified, but what next? Now again I have to do if condition, right? I have to compare, right? If why? Because we have to get the latest modified date, we have to compare it, right? Let me do what I wanted here. I wanted to convert, right? I want getter. Getter file means I have one reference dates, right? So what I have to do, let me see. I want get metadata 2, not 1. I want 2. What is the name? Oh, I have never, I need to connect it, right? Let me open again and let me write the expression. When get meta 2 activity is greater than which one? Which something is problem with there. Okay, I have to use greater option. Greater, and inside there I have to put last modified date is greater than we have a variable, right? I have a variable called reference date. Okay, now what date we have on the reference? Do you think it will able to compare? No, I have to put reference date somewhere. Okay, let me open that. What we have in the pipeline, I should have some variable and I have to assign the value, right? We have to compare here. Now 900, I just give a random date, or means a default date in all the formats because I want to compare date as well. So this date, let me give this date, the reference date, it has to compare each file. So suppose I'll take this date. So this date compare with 1900 is always getter. So it, what I'll do, I have to store this variable somewhere, right? I have to store. So next step is I am able to compare this. I have used if statement. Let me go. If it is getter, what I have to do, I have to set that variable, correct? Because I got the date and the folder, right, which is getter then with my reference date, right? The old default date. So I'll store a reference date. What I'll do, I'll kept the latest date. Sorry, not one. I will put two. Okay. So in get getter 2 means second step where we have our latest date, I am storing it. Okay, where I am storing it, reference date. Okay, and I'll do one thing, I'll pick one more, right? Because we have, okay, what happened? I have two, right? Yeah. So I have stored the which part? The reference date, but I have to pick that latest file name as well, right? Once I do iterations. So let from where I get the latest date, I'll get from the variable. Make sense? Not variable. I would have something called, oh, I also have a meta item name for meta 2, right? Okay, let me see. Get rid of item name, right? You get it? Okay. Where I get it, let me show you. So once I do the attrition here again, you can see here I have a field name called 2, right? Item name, sorry, let me, where I have, wait. So there should be somewhere I have all the attritions. File name is item name, yes. Oh yeah. In the field list, I have a last modified date and item name, right? The two things I am keeping for each file attritions. So now what I have set for true, right? So what is once it is true, I hold the data here, correct? Makes sense. Now once I this condition is passed, I have the latest file here and here, right? The variable name. So what I'll do, I'll just do copy activity here. Okay. I think you have, it's quite simple, right? I do the iteration two times using get metadata. I'll hold the latest file data here in set variable, and now I just do the just do move activity. So now in this activity, what I can do, I'll use the two things here, right? Let me see. I have used a delimiter file save under, right? Okay. Let me use the same. Might be 7 works. Okay. 7 requested one parameter, right? What which file name we have, and latest file name where we have latest file into file name, correct? And sync. Let me create sync new option. Blob location, yeah, delimited file, yes. And sync link services. Let me create new folder. Output dot not dot modified. Okay, output modified files. Let me put okay. Now something happened. What happened? Okay, let me see. Might be capital or notation, might be. Let me see. So as of now, what we have discussed, we have done two iterations with using get metadata. Okay, let me pick it up. Let me put into output folder. Okay, I'll delete older file. Okay, so suppose I have a output folder here. Let me remove that folders. Okay, so you this why I'm doing, so you will get all the real-time activity. I'll explain you later. Okay, now I have read all the folders. Let me see something is missing here or not. Okay, I need to create a parameter because it's a dynamic, right? Because we have a file name here. In file name, I have to pick dynamically. Okay, and this output file I need to pass here from where I take this from name. So let me see if it's done fine. Okay. So let's see if it is pass or fail. But you have to understand how this iteration working. So first step, I get metadata to point to input folder, and I get a child item inside the folder. Second, I'll pass each file into for each activity. Suppose I have passed a employee POC file, and again I have used get metadata for particular file. What is the item name? What's my file name? And second, what is the last modified date? Correct. And I'll compare using if condition. If my latest file name means get better to the last modified file is greater than with my reference date. Okay. If it is that, we have to what we have to do? We have to pass it. Correct. And once then I'll store the file. You can see my iteration is got completed. Let me see what we are doing here. Okay. So this is same. I got all the files. Makes sense to you? Secondly, I do the iteration. I'll pick file each file one by one. And if you see in each activity, I have two dates, right? You can see last modified date and item name. Then I have to compare and which is the latest. Suppose, let me give example here. Input folder. Suppose I pick the this date, right? Employee one, and this is date, right? So it will compare. So here you can see this is a not greater, right? But I have greater here because I have same date, right? Same date, same time, everything is same. Here I have only one file which is greater than. So suppose first set variable is hold this data, secondly is hold this data, right? On that case, it will pick it up this file first. Secondly, once you it pass this file input file called employee POC, it will pick this file and previously we hold this file is will get override. And once my iteration completes, means where we have actual what latest modified data and item name, then it will do the copy activity. And copy what it will do, it will paste your file input output folder. And let me see where we have output folder. Something went wrong. Okay, it has done actually. Okay, so you can see I have done something wrong here. So let me see how many time copy activity has done. So I have done copy activity many times. Okay. Okay, so if you see my output folder here, okay, you can see I got all the files. why it happens? Because I put that reason inside the if condition. Okay, so I'll do one thing. Once I pass it out, let me do one thing here. Okay, something is here. We have to go to source. I got the file name correct, and we have to think where what is happened here. Okay, we got the input folder. Okay, that's a folder. But okay, we don't want to use that. Okay, got it. So what we have to do? We have to connections. Okay, we have to pass this with the set parameters. Okay, you know, from where we pick the file, we have to pick the file from here, right? You getting my point? So once my date set this loop is completed for all the files, we have to then do that. Okay, let me run that again. Earlier I have picked the file from the input for all the files. So okay, let me delete the file meantime. Okay, so you can see while watching this channel, you get the all the possible error what we done the wrongly, right? So we have to correct ourselves. That's why you get all the clarification while doing real-time implementations. Okay, let me see what is running. So I get the file. Okay, okay, I have what file I have. Let me see. It came back. So again, copy activity is running. Let me refresh. Something might be again we have to done wrong. Okay, let me debug again. Let me unzip it. Okay. Oh, copy activity will come here. Okay. It's not go inside. Okay, let me do cut. Let me do come outside the loop and paste it because this is my end goal result, right? There is copy activity on. You understand? I put the iteration inside because it will run all the time, right? Let me copy activity run, pass it. Then do we have to do something here? I taken from the latest file, correct, and let me do the sync. Item name norm is would not there. It will take up from variable latest file. Let me see sync with I am doing the file name. Okay, let me try to debug this time. So might be I have set the variable because that set variable is a parameter for me, right? It is all time variable. This one it will might work. Let's see. You will see what out will we get. Let me delete again. So let me delete what happened. So I hope you getting all the clarification because I done that tuition and while once we set up and each time we'll set up right for each file, so you will get it. Let me see if it is running successfully. Now this time it only copy to run only once. You can see after this it is completed. So let me see. Do we have get one folder here? It's called imply. Correct. So what done I was wrong. I copy activity I have performed inside for each activity, right? So we have to done this activity outside the for each. It means once my for each activity completes, then we have to do the copy activity. Okay, that makes sense to you. So I think in part one I have covered this part. So if you see in my first part in ADF how to get latest file from the blob address location, right? So I have created one folder here and we have this first part. In the second part, what we are going to do, we have multiple folders and each folder have latest file, right? So I have to pick those latest file and do the same iterations, right? So we have to go work some tricks on a high level. My main pipeline is the same, but we have to pick the folder, right? We have to do something on the folder level. File level I'm fine. I'm able to read the file, get the latest file, but we have to do the high level now. Okay, so please watch my second channel in the same series, and you will understand how to deal with the multiple folder. I'll pick the latest file and load into the same folder structure. Okay, thank you for watching. And if you are preparing for ADF questions and answer series or preparing for interview, please watch all the my playlist. You will get, it will give you benefit to prepare yourself before interview. Ask the same question. Okay, thank you for watching. Have a nice day. Please subscribe the channel.